Hello. Today I'm going to tell you an incredible story. While excavating the ruins of an ancient city, archaeologists discovered a tall stone pillar covered in cuneiform signs. It turned out to be the laws of the Babylonian king Hammurabi, who ruled in the 18th century BCE. These laws protected the lives and property of slave owners and punished free people harshly if they aided slaves. If you enjoy this kind of content and want to hear more fascinating stories, make sure to subscribe and leave a like, but only if you're genuinely interested. Get ready for the story, and to those listening before bed, I already wish you sweet dreams. Our house stood just outside the city wall near one of the gates. My father had not chosen this spot by accident. Merchants' slaves brought him wheels, soldiers brought armor and swords, and peasants from the nearby villages brought shovels and mattocks. My father was a blacksmith and his name was Enhégal. I loved watching him strike red-hot metal with his great hammer, fiery sparks scattering like a swarm of bees. But what I liked even more was speaking with the people who came to our home. Their clothes smelled of faraway places and the wonderful goods they brought to sell. Seeing my curiosity and amazement, travelers would tell stories of cities beyond the seas, insisting that in their lands, people did not know the name of Marduk, the chief god of Babylon, and worshipped other gods entirely. One day, a traveler with a fiery red beard explained to me that in his country there were no date palms, but instead huge trees oozed sticky sap. For half the year, cold fluff fell from the sky and covered the whole land like a carpet. Then rivers would freeze and people could walk or ride over them. When the stranger left, my father laughed. Did you ever hear such nonsense, Shamhat? They don't know about date palms. Fluff falls from the sky. Rivers stop flowing. Foreigners think we are fools and tell us all sorts of tall tales. But he paid you, didn't he? My mother remarked. Let them say what they want as long as they pay in silver. I knew what my mother meant. My father often worked for free. How could he refuse a man with 7 hungry mouths to feed? Only the poor help the poor, father would say. This irritated mother. You only ever think about others. Your son doesn't go to the tablet house. How will you pay the teacher? Don't nag, answered my father. I've already paid the teacher, with a copper disc I made for him. In return, he promised to teach Huash everything he teaches the merchant's sons. What does the teacher teach? I asked. I don't know, my father replied. But those who are educated don't plow or knead clay or forge. They work in palaces and temples. Their clothes are as bright as day and they wear sandals. They never run out of grain or oil, mother added. They live in real houses, not shacks like ours. So it was decided that I would be sent to the tablet house. That evening, mother washed my clothes, patched the holes, and prayed to the god Ye to guide me on the path of knowledge. At dawn, just as the sky brightened, father took me to the city. The streets were empty. We saw only city slaves with reed brooms and beggars heading for the temple of Ishtar, the Lady of Babylon. Wealth is far, poverty is close, father said. We entered a large building where rows of low clay tables stood. Opposite the door hung a wooden board. There's my disc, father said proudly, pointing to a corner. Indeed, a copper disc, looking like a spokeless wheel, hung there. Its surface was neatly lined. At the sound of our voices, an older, stooped man appeared from behind a mat-draped doorway, looking thoroughly annoyed. Not even at night can I get any peace from you, he said, stifling a yawn. What do you want, Enhégal? Beauty of Babylon. Wisest of teachers, my father declared, unusually grandiloquent. I've brought you my son who, like plants reaching for light, longs for knowledge. My son Huash is 13, but he's seen nothing but the forge and the city wall, and heard no wise words. For what wisdom can come from those who plow fields or tend donkeys? Apparently the teacher liked this speech. He managed to straighten up, his back no longer seeming so stooped, and gave a faint smile. Very well, Enhégal, he nodded. I shall take your son. I'll make him a scribe and he'll thank me for his education. May the gods help you, my father said, bowing low. And you, son, listen to your teacher and obey him. He won't teach you anything bad. Father and the teacher left me alone. I wandered among the tables, jumping over them out of boredom. At one table by the right-hand wall, little figures were drawn. Maybe here they teach how to draw, I thought, taking from my lunch cloth a copper nail I'd brought in case of robbers. I'd heard there were people in Babylon who kidnapped children. I scratched a big donkey face with open jaws onto the table, about to add the ears, when a bunch of boys burst into the room. They were all younger than me with no patches on their clothes like mine. The boys stopped. A newbie, shouted a curly-haired kid. Look what he did to my table, wailed another, small and chubby. He drew you, shrieked a skinny boy, slapping the winner on the back of his head. "I'll tell the school, father," cried the winner. The mat over the side door rustled and the boys scattered to their seats. "Good day, school father," came the disordered chorus. "What's going on here?" the teacher demanded, entering the room. His eyes landed on my handiwork. "It's him," squealed the winner, pointing at me. "He messed up my table." "Indeed," grunted the teacher, coming over. "A new kind of animal. Even Utnapishtim didn't know this species when he gathered the animals for his ark." The school father beckoned me over. Only then did I notice the thin stick in his hand. Before I could react, it hit my back. "That's for the donkey." He raised his hand again. "For being earless, as if my crime was not adding the years in time. And that is for disobedience." It hurt, but I stayed silent. Father had said a man mustn't cry. "There's your first lesson," the teacher panted, tossing the stick aside. "Now go find your seat. Move over, Balazzano." He pointed to the curly-haired boy. I was relieved I wasn't sent to sit with the winner. The room grew quiet, broken only by the droning voice of the school father. "Today we will learn writing, for writing is the mother of wisdom, the father of teachers. He who writes doesn't worry about his daily bread. The unlearned always hunger at home. We begin with the word Abu, for just as a father is the head of the family, so is the king in the country and Marduk in heaven. To write Abu you need 6 strokes, 3 more and 1 downwards." The teacher repeated Abu, then went to the winner's table, took his stylus and corrected something. "Every line must be sharp, like the spears of a warrior serving his king, close together, not wandering apart. Like this. Hold your hand at an angle," he instructed my neighbor. "Don't scratch, press the stylus. And you, Huash, don't forget to bring a reed stylus tomorrow. There's clay in our yard, the boys will show you how to make tablets." "I'll show him," voices chimed. "Quiet," said the teacher. "Pay attention. Now I'll teach you to write Shumudat." He went to the wooden board, took a bit of charcoal and drew 3 slanted wedges. "What's your shumu?" the teacher asked the winner. "Mine's Rhymish, school father," replied the boy. "And yours?" he asked Skinny. "Nabusher." "And what's the shumu of our king, ruler of the 4 corners of the world?" "Samsiditana," shouted the curly-haired boy. "Yes, Samsiditana, son of Amisaduka. Everyone has a shumu, ordinary people, kings and even the gods. Everyone's is different. If a person praises the gods and blesses the king, his shumu is spoken with respect." At noon when I returned home, father asked, "What did you learn at the tablet house?" "How to write Abu Dot." I took a few copper nails from a box, arranging them as the wedges were on the clay tablet. "You see," said father, shaking his head skeptically, "my whole life I've forged nails as many as the stars. Who knew you could make words with nails?" "And what else did the teacher say?" mother inquired. "The school father said everyone has their own shumu." I lined up 3 nails diagonally. "And if you praise the gods and bless the king, your shumu will be spoken with respect." "That's true, son," father replied, "but the teacher forgot, every worker who loves his craft deserves respect." The next day I studied writing with the others. The teacher drove words into our heads like nails. Fish, star, plow, mountain. But a pile of bricks is not yet a house. You must learn to form words, string them into sentences. We copied maxims: your only true companion is God. A people without a king are sheep without a shepherd. An army without a commander is a field without a farmer. A king is a mirror of God. I marveled that I'd never heard these from my father or our visitors. Sometimes my teacher's proverbs were the opposite of those I knew. Hope in God, but don't sleep. In a city without dogs, the jackal is constable. The enemy's ox eats grass, your ox goes hungry. Soon our tablets looked like star-speckled sky. Words grew into sentences and the teacher's dictations barely fit. Yet he was never satisfied. "You're all turtles, not scribes. How much can you write in half a day?" "2 tablets. You should do 10. The scribe whose hand can't keep up with his mouth, he's no scribe." One day I brought home a clay tablet to memorize. I set it on my knees and began to read by syllables. "Shamash, when you rise over the great mountain. When you rise over the foundations of the sky." I didn't notice mother approach and place her hand on my shoulder. "Tell me, son, where did you get those words?" "Here," I replied, showing her the tablet. She turned it gently, as though hoping to see the words themselves. "These words are in the clay," I said, tracing the wedges with my finger. "And Shamash too?" mother asked. "Yes," I answered and recited, "Shamash, when you rise over the great mountain." Mother gazed at me with awe. "You know sacred words like a priest. If I had this clay, I'd put it in a place of honor. Let Shamash be here too. All right, mother, I'll make you a tablet. Mother bowed low to me. Embarrassed, I took the tablet and continued, all people waiting on the earth look to you, Shamash. Every creature on earth, every four-legged animal opens its eyes to your light. Once our teacher explained how the earth and sky were arranged. It was so interesting. The sun, it seems, does not stray meaninglessly but, like a traveler, searches for the city gate. Its gates are made of pure gold, guarded not by men but by monsters with the heads of scorpions. The teacher explained why it rained. The skies have heavenly windows, opened by the gods when they wish to pour water down. But how do they let out cold fluff? I asked. Fluff? The teacher repeated, surprised. What fluff? That which falls in the land of great trees, where they don't know date palms, where people can walk on rivers. What nonsense, snapped the teacher. The sacred books mention only rain, which Marduk sends through the heavenly windows. But in that land where fluff falls, they don't know of Marduk at all. People there have fiery beards. They worship other gods. Silly child, the teacher grew angry. You dare argue with me? Go home and bring your father. I have never forgotten that day. As I walked, I wondered how to explain to father why my teacher was angry. I hadn't made anything up. I just repeated what I'd heard from travelers in my father's forge. Suddenly I saw my father walking toward me, pale, his hair disheveled, his hands tied behind his back. To his right and left, guards walked with him. Father, what happened? I screamed as I rushed to him. A guard shoved me so hard I fell. Father said with bitterness, the law. I lay on the stones watching father go. What did he mean by the law? Who could help me now? The teacher. True, he was angry with me, but father said, when someone is in need, forget your anger. I know everything already, barked the teacher when I appeared. Enhégal freed a slave. He broke the law. What law? I asked. The one on the pillar by the palace. So I went to the square. It was crowded. I heard shouts, for sale. Buy now. Vendors called out their goods. Fresh water. Fresh water? Cried the water carriers. Where's the law? I asked a bald man holding the hand of a 10-year-old boy with only one ear. The boy struggled and cried. There, said the bald man, waving me off. I found myself before the law. I was small, it was huge and terrifying. Made of black stone, covered in wedges just like the ones we used in school. Only at its top, where a person's head would be, was it adorned with a picture. A man seated on a throne handed another man a judge's rod. That was Shamash, the supreme judge. And who stood before him? I read the inscription. I, Hammurabi, mighty king who exalted the name of Babylon, scholar of wisdom, sent by the gods to rule justly and bring happiness to the land. Now I understood. The one shown before Shamash was Hammurabi, the wise and just king who gave Babylon its laws and carved them onto the stone pillar. Reading them, I noticed one word appeared more than any other, Shema. Each law started with it and one pertained to my father. How would I find it? Reading through, I came upon, if a slave says to his master, you are not my master, the master must prove he's a slave, and then he may cut off the slave's ear. So that's why the boy only has one ear, I realized. He's a slave. He refused to call the bald man master. First he lost an ear and now, here at the pillar, he'll lose the other. And the slave father had freed? Maybe he too had no ears left and his owner wanted to cut off his nose, so he decided to run. At last I found what I sought. If anyone hides a runaway slave or slave woman and does not bring them forward when the crier calls, he shall be put to death. Death. A word I already knew how to write. I remembered the proverb our teacher had dictated, it is noble to die for the king, but what had that to do with my father? He wasn't a warrior, but a blacksmith. Father and death. Who had put those words together? The law. Hammurabi? And he still called himself just. Did Shamash really give him the rod of judgment for this? Death for helping a slave. But a slave is also a human. He has a name and 2 ears. I wandered home as if in a fever. The cuneiform wedges with which words were made danced before my eyes. Yet the city carried on as usual. Donkeys cheerfully pulled their carts, the crack of whips and clatter of wheels filled the air. It seemed no one noticed my sorrow, no one cared. At home I saw a crowd was gathered. People stood in silence, but when I came near, the women broke into wails. Orphan. Poor thing. Someone took my hand. Someone patted my head and whispered words of comfort, but I did not understand. Where's my mother? I asked. Show me my mother. You have no mother. said Bashtam, our neighbor, sobbing. Her heart could not bear it. Your mother was a true wife to her husband. It has been 2 weeks now since I lost my father and buried my mother. The hammer is still too heavy for me, but I tried forging nails. And that was when the man with the fiery beard returned. I recognized him at once, for no one else in Babylon had such a beard. Boy, where is the blacksmith? He asked. I lowered my head. Tears welled up. Oh, I see something terrible happened. The blacksmith is dead. They killed him. They killed my father. I cried, sobbing as I told my sad story. The foreigner listened, shaking his head. I don't think this is just, he said when I finished. The blacksmith had a good heart and freed a man from his chains. Who killed him? The law, I answered. The law on the stone pillar. That is wrong, the stranger said. It's no good if the law lives only in stone. The law should live here. He touched his chest where the heart is, and suddenly I understood. I fell to my knees. Take me with you. I'll be your slave, bear your burdens, take your blows, just take me away. I don't need a slave, the foreigner said. I need... He paused, searching for the word, his brow beaded in sweat. I need a friend. A little friend, or rather, a great friend. He laughed in delight, as if finding the only words that didn't contradict each other.